We are less than 48 hours away from Canada, Belgium. Practice happened. Everyone was accounted for. And when I say that, it's because Milan Borjan was there, Stefan Eustáquio, Alphonso Davies. So I'm wondering then, Jordan, I'll just start with you. Which lineup decision do you think keeps John Herdman up at night?
Ooh, thought about this long and hard, Andy. And I have to go with the midfield combination. Playing Belgium, you have to expect Canada will not have a lot of time on the ball, right? You have the likes of De Bruyne to look after. He's a handful for any midfield. So who's in there with Atiba? Yes, I'm saying Atiba's playing. Who's in there? Do you have Piet, who is a great player and covers ground, but maybe not as much ground as we would like in a game like that? You want someone who's a bit dynamic, can go both ways, who can play a bit of bully ball, tackle, make runs, be able to connect the defense and the strikers. Who goes in there? Kone. He's a bit raw, young, hasn't played in a big game. Do you gamble and go with him? Marc-Anthony Kaye. Like who is the midfielder if Stefan Eustáquio isn't ready to go and play for Canada? So for me, it's just figuring out if Eustáquio's ready, we know our lineup. But if he's not, it's a big question of who he feels can go in and do a shift. And he can watch and see those guys at training, but we don't know. And that's a question mark I'm curious about.
But you're starting Atiba, because I know Wheels, you're like, I'm not starting him. Or does your opinion change?
550 reasons why I'm starting Atiba. 20 years in why I'm starting Atiba. He's playing. You could take him out after 60 minutes, but he should be playing.
Yeah. Yeah, I changed the way that I thought about that after seeing him in that last game against Japan, to be honest with you.
You came over to the right side, Wheels.
It's Missouri. It's a show me state. And right now, he is the best option available, even if he's not at 100% right now. And that's what he's not. To answer your question, Andy, what's keeping him up at night? Every little decision is keeping him up at night. It's not just about the lineup or picking the team. I think that largely picks itself, injuries pending. It's about the style of play, where you're going to find those areas of advantages. How are you going to defend this group? What are you going to do to deal with a Kevin De Bruyne, a true difference maker in the game that players like this, we've seen it already, are the ones that are match winners. Like, this is what's keeping you up at night, where to gamble, where you can afford to give something up, and where you need to be clinical and take something away. The way that their training sessions are structured, just kind of pulling back the curtain, they have a big picture training session, they have a defensive session, and they have an attacking session. Then you need to be good to go. Information is being shared and spread amongst this group for weeks now on end. Everyone understands the job that they need to do, but whether you want to tinker or adjust, and maybe you have cold feet in terms of some of the decision-making processes, these are the things that are going through John Herdman's head right now. And I don't think he will be settled until the whistle goes at 2 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday.
When you said everything's keeping him up, I thought you were going to say, what is he going to eat for dinner? How much time does he need to sleep? Yeah. Where is he going to go shopping afterwards? But you have to also love the confidence, Ollie, of this team. You know, when asked if they could beat Belgium, Jonathan David, and we just know he's so low key, but he's like, yeah. He was also asked about, wanting to score that first goal ever at a World Cup for Canada at the Men's World Cup. And he's like, yeah, because whoever does that will be a hero. And I would like that to be me. There's a lot of confidence here, Ollie.
Yeah, part of that is just Jonathan David's personality, because he's an unflappable, pretty quiet kind of guy, but doesn't really allow much to get to him, I don't think. But I also think, why would he be scared? Like, there's certain players in this team, Jonathan David, Alphonso Davies, even Tejan Buchanan and Stefan Eustáquio are now at that Champions League level. Are they really going to be looking opposite them in this Belgian lineup? And I'm talking about the direct opponents in defense in particular that they're going to come up against. Are they going to be scared of that? Like, worried about that? Thinking that they're not at the level here to compete against these guys? Like, we know there's other areas of the team where Canada could have real problems here and are going to have a real challenge in front of them. When you look at De Bruyne and Hazard and Witsel and all of these different players that, absolutely are capable of causing a much less experienced Canadian backline some issues. But in terms of the guys like Davids, I don't think there's much here that's that's in front of them that's really going to be frightening them, if anything at all. I think they'll fancy. I think they'll fancy their chances in an attacking sense, purely looking at those individual matchups again to emphasize. They're going to fancy their chances.
But Ollie, do you know who else was confident ahead of their opening kickoff? Qatar. They thought they were going to come out and be able to play. Iran, of course they were.
Like it.
Look, we need to drill this home. Canada has never faced an opponent like Belgium since their last friendly against Brazil, which was 2 decades ago. Like, come on here. This is a completely different level. They've never played competition like this. They played Japan and Uruguay. Neither had a full complement of players. David does in club football, but not for the national team. Playing internationally is much different than playing club football. I understand this whole mentality, like nothing to fear. And you're right. I think they will go into that game with nothing to fear. That doesn't mean that when that game starts, that you don't become overwhelmed. It's about the reaction. Look, we've said everything there's need to be said. The players, they're going to say everything that needs to be said. It largely has already. It's about when that whistle goes, how does this team react? And I don't think any of us really know the answer to that question.
Mm-hmm. We don't know. And we don't know Canada's ceiling. We've never been in a major tournament. The thing that we need to drive across is that we've already succeeded. We've qualified after 36 years. This is what we need. That is the base point. Anyone we speak to, Canada has not qualified since 86. I was not alive in 86. Were you alive in 86, Ali?
No, not even.
I was.
Not even close. Not even.
You guys aren't old. You guys are just mature. Don't worry about it, okay? What we're trying to say is experience, vintage. What we're trying to say is that Canada has done something that no one thought they would do. I didn't think they were going to do. So that is the base point. But they also are going into this game with nothing to lose. So I know, Wheels, you feel like maybe it's impossible for them to get a win. I do agree with the David and Goliath statement, but David also slayed Goliath. It could happen. A 1-0 win could happen. A tie could happen. We don't know Canada's ceiling. We don't know how good they could be in a major tournament. And that I would love to be in a position like Canada going into this game rather than Belgium that have to get a result.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I don't know what we also expect the Canadian players to say. Nah, man, I don't think we're going to score that first goal at the World Cup ever. I don't think we have a chance against Belgium. Like, come on, right? Like, they're saying all the right things, but I also truly, and I think we're all in agreement here, they believe in what they're saying. And that's pretty special. And we won't know until that final whistle goes after 90 minutes on November 23rd. But we also know that they will not be with Romelu Lukaku, right? So Belgium has actually said that not only is he ruled out for that game, but in fact, he's ruled out for the first 2 games. Ollie, is this a big deal or a little deal for Canada?
I think it's a big deal, at least if we're talking about a fully fit Romelu Lukaku. Like, it's been apparent for a few weeks now, I think, that even if he did play in this game, he wouldn't be at 100%. And so maybe that tempers it a little bit in that, there can be advantages to playing against a player who's not at 100%. But if this guy's in his best form and on top of his game, he's a big problem for Canada. Again, when I talk about those matchups, when I talk about the confidence that Canada will have, I think in the attacking areas in some of those matchups they're going to get, well, this one was the big issue for them on the other side of the coin, right? For me, like there's other players in the Belgium team that can hurt you. Don't get me wrong. There's still going to be plenty of challenges for Canada to face. But this is someone who I think can go one-on-one against you and give you real issues against the Canadian backline that does not have players that have played at Romelu Lukaku's level in their career. So him being out, there's good replacements, challenging replacements, but he is a difference maker that I think Belgium will miss.
And do you know where the pressure turns? Directly to the manager. It's funny. John Herdman is on this ascendancy over the course of his career. He's starting to become a name. Probably bigger jobs await him at some point in his future. This is, put up or shut up for Roberto Martinez in this tournament. He's an extremely positive thinker, positive individual, very likable. But how good of a manager he is debated in circles. He has a team here that should go on, get out of this group, and make a long run in this tournament. Good managers find ways to compensate the loss of significant players, just like John Herdman dealt with no Alphonso Davies in half of the World Cup qualifying games. This team has enough talent in it to still get the job done without Lukaku, who obviously makes the team better when entirely fit. But this is a group that needs to really, all the pressure's on their shoulders and their manager right now. So it's up to him to find the best way forward without Lukaku in the team.